Australia has space. Endless space. But look closer, and you'll see a silent disaster. Half the country's agricultural land, over 400 million acres, is damaged, dried out, nearly dead. And in the middle of this ecological crisis, one man started digging. Not to bury livestock, not to dump trash, but to bury wool. Tons of it. Discarded, greasy, unsellable sheep wool. Buried by hand in the middle of nowhere. People laughed. Podcasts mocked it. But 7 weeks later, the land started turning green. And that's when everything changed. Out in rural Australia, the land tells a brutal story. Fields, once bursting with life, now look like a desert, cracked, compacted, dry as bone. In places like Western Victoria, New South Wales, and South Australia, decades of sheep grazing have taken a toll.
Sheep don't just nibble. They pull. They tear up the roots, and when the roots go, so does the grass. Their hooves stomp the soil flat. Water runs off instead of soaking in. And with no plants to hold the topsoil down, wind and rain carry it away, inch by inch, year after year. In some places, over 4 inches of topsoil have disappeared in just 2 decades. Gone. Washed out to sea. What's left behind is useless, just dry, compacted dirt. This isn't just dirt. It's family land. Generational. And now, farmers are watching it die in their own hands. Over 60% of pasture land in some regions now show signs of medium to severe degradation. Fertilizers? Too expensive. Irrigation systems? Can't run them in remote, drought-stricken areas. Compost, mulch, seed drills, they've tried it all, and nothing sticks. The land's just done. Or so they thought. In early 2022, on a struggling sheep station in Western Victoria, farm manager Michael Jennings looked around at 2 things. Acres of ruined pasture. 2 toupees of low-grade wool no one wanted. This wasn't the premium stuff that ends up in suits. This was waste wool. Too dirty, too coarse, too short. The kind you usually burn or throw away. But Michael had been talking to Emma Crawford, a soil researcher obsessed with finding low-cost regeneration methods. She told him, wool isn't trash. It's keratin, protein, rich in nitrogen and sulfur. Bury it, and it'll feed the ground slowly, like a time-release fertilizer. It sounded insane. But the land was already dead. What did he have to lose? On a 1,200-acre sheep station, they carved out 10 test plots, each 1 acre. Each trench, 12 inches deep, spaced 3 feet apart. No fertilizer, no added seed, no irrigation, just raw, dirty wool, straight from the shearing shed. Each acre got about 2 tons of wool. That's over 4,000 pounds of fiber buried beneath the surface. Emma took baseline soil samples, nitrogen levels, moisture retention, compaction. Result? Practically sterile. They timed the burial right before the short rainy season, hoping nature would do the rest. They weren't trying to grow crops. They weren't planting anything. They just wanted to see. Would anything come back on its own? Rain came, but not in floods. Just enough. Emma noticed something strange. The soil over the trenches stayed darker and wetter, even after the sun dried out everything else. That meant moisture was holding underground. Week 3. A few blades of grass showed up near the trench lines. Michael didn't get excited. He'd seen this before. False starts, weeds, short bursts that vanished in a dry spell. But Emma saw the signs. The soil smelled different. Texture was softer, cooler. Something was happening.
Week 7. From a distance, the fields still looked empty. But up close, there was green. A faint haze of grass. Then more and more. By week 9, it wasn't just grass, it was native grass. Stuff that hadn't grown in over 5 years. Michael was stunned. No one had planted seeds. No irrigation. No chemicals. Just wool, rotting beneath the surface. Soil nitrogen? Doubled. Sulfur? Up. Microbial activity? Spiking. And then came the worms. Gone for years. Now back, burrowing through the dirt. And not just worms. Small insects, native beetles, even birds started circling the plot. Life doesn't shout when it comes back. It whispers. But here, it was getting louder. So what happened? Why did it work? Turns out wool is weirdly perfect for soil recovery. Made of keratin, full of nitrogen, sulfur, and carbon, exactly what plants need. Uruguay's down slowly, over 4 to 6 months. Acts like a natural slow-release fertilizer. A tree molds water like a sponge, up to 30% of its weight. Improves soil structure, creating air pockets as it decomposes. Encourages microbes, fungi, and worms, all essential for soil health. Even the lanolin, that greasy sheep oil, slight antifungal effects, good for early plant roots. All of that from a material that used to be burned as trash. Word spread. At first through online forums and whispered emails, farmers came to see it with their own eyes. They'd tried everything: mulch, compost, irrigation, fertilizers. None of it worked like this. One of them said, "If this is real, it could save me 10 years of failed attempts." Satellite images began showing the difference. Green patches on previously dead land, higher biomass, lower surface temperature. And the best part? This wasn't some expensive tech. It was free, waste material, already on the farm. Emma and Michael's test caught the attention of researchers, quietly at first. Some government reps visited, off the record. Others started pilot trials in drier zones. Early results? Without much nutrient gain, buried wool helped land retain water longer. Grasses had a better chance to germinate. Soil temperature was cooler during the hottest parts of the day. Erosion dropped. One wool processor began pelletizing waste wool into small clumps, easy to spread with normal farm tools. Farmers started to rethink the value of waste wool, not just as garbage, but as regenerative material. This wasn't just a land story anymore. It was an economic story, and an ecological one. Then came an unexpected twist. Climate scientists noticed something else. The wool-treated soil didn't just hold moisture, it might retain carbon longer. Could this method help fight climate change? Could buried wool play a role in carbon capture? It's early. Quiet discussions, nothing public. But the question is out there now. What started as a desperate move on one dying farm is now a growing movement. Chemicals, no fancy machines, no synthetic boosters, just sheep wool, buried in the ground, feeding life back into dead land. The same animal that helped ruin the soil may be the key to saving it. Waste turned into hope. A dead field turning green. A future buried in the past. And it all started with a shovel and an idea nobody believed. This isn't a silver bullet. Not every field, not every region. But it's a spark, one that's catching on. So what do you think? Could sheep wool become the secret weapon for restoring our planet's soils? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and never underestimate what nature can do when we finally work with it, not against it.